I'd like to help.
Spencer Callahan is the one to see. Call 387-2323.
LA filing number 16-7970.
WNXX, Jackson, KNXX, Donaldsonville, and WDGL HD2 Baton Rouge. This hour brought to you by Spencer Callahan Injury Lawyers, LA 21-12681. Offices in Baton Rouge. Now, The Hunt Palmer Show. You are now listening to The Hunt Palmer Show, brought to you by Rouse's Supermarkets on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge. Locking down the middle of the day. Live from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge studios. This is Hunt Palmer.
Welcome in, Hunt Palmer, coming to you from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge studio downtown in the capital city on this Thursday. That means we're brought to you by Rouse's Markets, working towards the weekend, and glad you're hanging out with us here on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge. Got Jacob Beck and Cassie Spazzali back there on the ones and twos. Luke Johnson coming to us from deep in the Midwest, up there in Wisconsin. We'll talk some Saints, specifically the secondary with Luke, coming up in 15 minutes. I want to talk about LSU's pitching staff, kind of big picture in its entirety as we get into draft weekend coming up here at 1:30. 2 o'clock, Keith Law's latest big board, looking at that MLB draft that starts up on Sunday. I'll give my final projections on tomorrow's show, but we'll get what Keith thinks coming up at 2 o'clock. Tiger Stadium making some changes. Bayou Traditions getting involved there. We'll see what you all think of that. I'll give my thoughts. And is Paul Skenes going to start the All-Star game? He's starting today. I've got my thoughts. I'll give them to you at the bottom of hour number 2. But we start where I told you we would start yesterday on the show. And then if you listened to the station throughout the day, you heard my promo for today's Hunt Palmer show. And we talked about the tiger emoji that Jay Johnson tweeted out yesterday. I did confirm this. I did a little digging. I said, look, is this a little bit for show? Is there some enjoyment going on when Jay Johnson puts that tiger emoji? Confirmed? True. He does enjoy stirring things up a little bit. That's kind of the purpose of it. And I kind of thought that was funny because I always think of Jay Johnson as being very stoic, being very reserved, being very process-oriented. This is just all in social media fun, and he enjoys it. It's not misleading. There is something coming every time he does tweet that tiger emoji, but he does enjoy it. I found that out yesterday when I was doing a little bit of digging, and yesterday when we were on the air in our second hour, we got a tiger emoji, and everybody's running to the internet, and they're going, what's going on? Who is this? Who could it be? Could it be this guy? Is it out west? Why is it 10 o'clock tonight? Kendall Rogers is tweeting out about it. And the internet kind of whips itself up into a frenzy because we don't really have anything else to talk about in the middle of July. But we found out from Kendall Rogers that it was going to be at 10 o'clock, and right at 10 o'clock last night, I was sitting on my couch in a dark house watching Criminal Minds, just waiting to see what would pop up, and Anthony Ianson's name did pop up.
You're watching Criminal Minds in the dark, Hunt? Are you trying to, like, scare yourself?
You know, it's not a scary show. I don't do scary movies. Like, there are murders in every one because it's about serial killers, but you never see the murders. It's just like they keep that out of it. It's more about the process. So I can handle that. I don't do scary movies. I don't do horror films. I certainly don't do dead people and all that kind of stuff and ghosts, and that's all terrifying. But Criminal Minds I find kind of interesting and mindless. And yeah, I've watched it a little bit over the past week, and I was watching it. I've already watched all of them. I'm just going back and like watching random ones here and there. And I did last night, and that's when Anthony Ianson's name popped up. And so I said, okay, I know about Anthony Ianson, but let's go a little bit deeper into who this pitcher is. We know he's from Cal San Diego. We know he's 6'2", 195 pounds. Went through his bio in high school. He had really nice strikeout numbers, as you would expect from a collegiate pitcher. His freshman year at UCSD, 8 games, 7 starts. And I liked the strikeout to walk ratio in his 29 innings as a freshman, 34 strikeouts to just 8 walks. As a sophomore this past season, he really blossomed into their best arm. He went 6-2. He threw 82 innings this year, struck out 85 batters, so just over 1 an inning. Opposing batting average 190, which I thought was very good as well. He started the game against Missouri. Keep in mind, Missouri was the worst hitting team in the SEC. They were awful offensively. He threw 5 innings in that game. It was very early in the season. He gave up 5 hits and 2 earned runs, struck out 7, only walked 1. So a nice outing against Missouri early on in his sophomore year. Here's the thing about Ianson before I get into his stuff that I like statistically the most. He throws a lot of strikes, he misses a lot of bats, and he doesn't walk people. He only walked 24 guys in 82 innings this year. For perspective, he walked 2 more than Gage Jump. Gage Jump had 22 walks. Ianson had 24. And they pitched about the same amount of innings. 82 for Ianson, 83 for Jump. So you're basically looking at exactly the same walk rate at Gage Jump, who was excellent this year as far as his command. That I really, really like. If we want to extrapolate it out even further, Ianson, 24 walks in 82 innings. Griffin Herring, 23, a little bit more than half of that, in a little bit more than half the innings, 50. And he was one of LSU's best non-walk pitchers, strike-throwing pitchers, if you will, on the staff. I love that about Anthony Ianson. And you couple the fact that he throws a ton of strikes with the fact that Team USA likes his stuff, that to me says a lot. You're going to see a lot about 97, 98 on the fastball with Ianson. I have found, based on a little digging and just some YouTube, that that's not generally where he pitches. Most of his fastballs come in 93, 94. He can bump it up to 95, 96, and he can max out at 97, 98. But really, he's a low to mid-90s fastball guy, and they really like his breaking stuff. I saw a YouTube video of him throwing what they called a slider there. It just looked like a big curveball to me. It spins like crazy. It's got a ton of vertical depth to it. If you'll recall, like Luke Holman's slider this year, real tight and short. This is not that with Ianson. Aaron Nola's slider here at LSU was real tight and real short. This is not that. This has got more of a vertical break to it, a la Thatcher Hurd a little bit. Not quite as spinny as Hurd's, but good. And it's a plus pitch. It looks like a curveball to me. And look, this is a good addition. When you consider the talent, when you consider the fact that he's older, he throws a lot of strikes, and he's a guy that Team USA has recruited out to pitch for them. This is very, very good in my estimation. And it's just, again, more evidence to me of the movement from the West to the Southeast. I've given you all these names over and over and over again over the last 6 to 8 months. You talk about Jordan Thompson coming here to play shortstop at LSU, but certainly Thatcher Hurd and Gage Jump are guys from out west. Jacob Berry, really good player out west that comes here. You talk about Braden Montgomery, goes from being Stanford's best player to Texas A&M's best player. Luke Hill left Arizona State where he was their shortstop to go play at Ole Miss. You see at A&M, third base, maybe their best player, the conference freshman of the year, comes from Southern California to go play in South Texas. Gavin Grahovic. It's continuing, and we had a conversation right here on our show with Derek Curiel, who is a Southern California high school player who's signed with LSU, and he's going to come to college and play his college baseball in the SEC. This was a hotbed of college baseball for decades. It is now a farm system. That's what the West is, and that's already happened to Cal State Fullerton and UC Irvine and UC San Diego here and Long Beach State and all those schools. It's already happened with UCLA as well. And my assumption is that it's going to happen with Oregon State. Whether or not they become a farm system or the guys just don't go there, it will cripple their program. I mean, the Pac-12 had media days yesterday. When I say Pac-12, it was 2 schools at like 10 o'clock at night in Vegas with an open bar. We'll talk about it at the end of the show, but like obviously that conference is dead, and I think Oregon State's baseball program will die with it. And it's going to become a super league down here, and it already is. I mean, it's going to become. We're one drop pop away from 7 straight national champions from 7 different schools. And so you're just going to continue to see these SEC teams get better and better and better and better, and those teams out west get worse and worse and worse and worse. And it's not really my problem. It bums me out a little bit, but hey, Anthony Ianson is a heck of a pitcher, and now he's headed to Baton Rouge to be a part of LSU's rotation. So again, you're talking about a really good athlete who was a really good hitter in high school, who's got a loose arm. And my thing is, and I'll continue to say this until the years prove me wrong, when you start seeing guys come from these smaller schools to LSU and you see them have exposure to and the benefit of all these resources and technology that LSU's got, I think you're going to see an uptick in performance from these guys. It's hard to gauge Thatcher Hurd and Gage Jump. Pun terrible there. That was accidental. But it's hard to gauge those 2 guys because they missed a whole year with surgery. You didn't see Thatcher Hurd really play his freshman year at UCLA. You didn't see Gage jump his sophomore year at UCLA. So it's hard for me to say that those guys made a huge, God, it's like Gage Jump's name just keeps popping in, made a huge jump to where they were at LSU. But you certainly can say that about Paul Skenes. It's meteoric. And I would suggest Luke Holman got better this past season. Now, you could say Christian Little did or didn't. I think he saw at the end of his time before he got hurt in the SEC tournament that he did make strides in his second year in Baton Rouge. So to me, when you're talking about a guy that comes from the University of Cal San Diego, playing at a school with no resources in front of no people, and he's throwing 94, 95 miles an hour, and you bring him down here into this strength and conditioning program, and you give him this pitch lab with this pitching coach and this amount of resources, it's reasonable to think that this is a guy who could be an elite level starting pitcher. They don't always work out, and that's why you go get as many as you possibly can. Your LSU, they go grab 12 transfers. But I think it stands to reason there's a significant chance that Anthony Ianson becomes a better pitcher than he was as a sophomore at UCSD. And if he does, he becomes a high-level SEC starting pitcher. I think this is a big, big deal. I've expressed my concerns with some of the guys they've brought in, and I've expressed how excited I am about some of the guys you've brought in. Daniel Dickinson was the one that I was super excited about earlier this week. Anthony Ianson, I think, fits that bill. This guy could be very, very, very good for LSU. So when we're going to go to Luke Johnson here in the next segment. When we come back from Luke at 1:30, 20 minutes from right now, I'm going to go through LSU's pitching staff. I tweeted about it earlier today, but it's starting to take shape. We're just a few days away from the draft, and we'll have a real good sense of how things are going to shake out at the end of next week. But for right now, I think it's exciting to kind of talk about, so I'll get into it in its entirety at the bottom of this hour coming up in about 20 minutes. But we'll take a time out when we come back. Luke Johnson talking Saints, specifically the Saints secondary. Is it the strength of the football team? We'll talk about it next.
You are now listening to The Hunt Palmer Show.
Every shot, every goal, ESPN Bet has fans covered for the biggest moments on the road to the championship. The exclusive sportsbook of ESPN is the only place to find special offers and promotions from your favorite ESPN shows and personalities throughout the playoffs. New users can get a bet reset up to $1,000 in bonus bets if your first bet doesn't win. Download ESPN Bet today. What a play. Must be 21 or older. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-522-4700 in partnership with the Bears Lake Charles. Terms and conditions apply. See app for details.
Our listeners fire off their opinions on the jimsfirearms.net hotline at 499-1045. Keep listening for your next chance to shoot us your thoughts with the jimsfirearms.net hotline on 1045 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram is taking $20,000 off new 23 Ram 1500 trucks. We're open for business in our beautiful new showroom and taking $20,000 off the powerful Ram truck. All new Bayou vehicles come with a 7-year, 100,000-mile warranty. The crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
Farming is a way of life for us. It's not something we get up in the morning and dread going do. It's just something we go to bed at night looking forward to getting up to go do. John Deere equipment is what we as farmers strive to have. So it's in your blood, it's in your veins. It's just a part of who you are. Green is what we want to be in. The other tractors were acquired to patch it up to get to where you want to be. Where we want to be is in John Deere. Flip the switch and learn more about what it means to be powered by sunshine at sunequip.com.
Hey, it's Matt Moscona. For years, you've heard me tell you about Insurance Network of Louisiana, helping you find better coverage for less money. But it's not just for your home and auto. They also offer commercial property. So, retail stores, professional offices like doctors, dentists, attorneys, clothing boutiques. Insurance Network of Louisiana can find you better coverage for less money. They service the entire state of Louisiana, and they're local. So call today at 293-0450 or lainsurance.net.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
The best kept secret.
Matt Moscona inviting you to join us for Thursday's AFR, the latest LSU baseball transfer portal news, and Matt Borman from the Tiger Athletic Foundation talking a little LSU NIL. Join us 3 to 6, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
You are listening to The Hunt Palmer Show, brought to you by Rouse's Supermarkets.
Chugging right along here on this Thursday edition of the Hunt Palmer Show, brought to you by Rouse's official supermarket of the New Orleans Saints. Saints just a couple of weeks away from reporting for training camp, as we are almost there. And that means Luke Johnson has to go back to work, but he's not working right now. He's up in Wisconsin just hanging out with family, I'm told. But he's good enough to give us a few minutes here on the Jim's Firearms Hotline. Luke, how's the weather up in scenic Wisconsin?
Man, I'm like soaking up this 80-degree weather. Summer 80-degree weather. I mean, you cannot beat that.
Is it cool at night?
Oh God, it's like in the 60s at night.
Yeah. What is that like?
Yeah.
I guess it's like December here.
It's incredible. It's exactly. It's like that perfect late fall weather in Louisiana, like the 3 weeks of good weather we get down there. Yeah, it's been absolutely perfect. I've been knocking back some spotted cows, some Culver's Butterburgers. I'm going to go back home about 10 pounds heavier, which is the way it's supposed to be.
Got a feeling you can run that off pretty quick down here with the heat before the Saints report to camp. I want to talk about the secondary today, Luke, as we kind of get closer to training camp. Marshawn Lattimore is going to be in the fold. Your expectation from him?
Well, I mean, I think as long as he's healthy, I think he's still a really good player. And that's just really the only problem with him. I think that's probably why the Saints didn't move him this offseason, because they know he's a really good player. They know he's still got a lot of value, but he's played 17 games the last 2 seasons. The guy's got to get on the field to show what he can do. And I still think that when he is on the field and when he is playing, he gives you somebody that can take away the other team's top receiver. You can move the rest of your coverage away from him and just kind of let him go be on his own. It's like highly valuable. And I think he's really motivated just by the last 2 years, by the fact that there were even trade rumors about him this offseason. He's got to kind of rebuild his reputation. I mean, before the injuries started getting hit, he was pretty widely considered one of the best young corners in the league. And I don't think that's true anymore. So, not that he's not one of the best still, but I just think that people don't think of him that way. So, I think this is an important season for him. And look, if he plays well, if he stays healthy, that's good for Marshawn Lattimore. It's potentially good for the Saints beyond this season. I mean, he's a huge part of what they're going to do this year.
It's time for hypotheticals. It's the middle of July. Hypothetically, this is a really difficult start for the Saints. They come out of the blocks and aren't very good at all. Is there a scenario where Marshawn Lattimore is tradable in season?
So I think in a vacuum, yes. If he's showing he's still a top flight corner, he's healthy, a team that has a need pop up that feels like it can win a Super Bowl, yes. I just don't know if the Saints are going to be like in that sort of sell mode. Yeah, it is a really difficult stretch to open the season, but like really difficult stretch, and they go through a bad run. Like, I mean, Dennis Allen's going to be feeling a lot of pressure.
Yeah.
And I know he's going to have, he currently does have say on personnel matters. So if they just start 1-4 and start selling off pieces, I think that's probably not a good sign for Dennis Allen. Because that means the organization's like, well, you had your shot. So I think probably not. It makes sense in a vacuum. I just don't think you can look at it that way.
Do you believe that the Saints personnel department, all the folks that make those decisions, believe that Paulson Adebo will one day be a number one corner for New Orleans?
I think the Adebo situation is a little bit tougher than the Lattimore one. He was really good as a rookie. He was really, really good last year. He probably should have been a Pro Bowler last year. And then sandwiched in between that, he was kind of off. He was playing through some injuries, but he was not the player they were expecting him to be in 2022. So I think there's a little bit more variance there, and I'm not sure if he's like the guy who you can be like you're a 1-for-1 replacement for Marshawn Lattimore. Like, I don't think he's going to travel with the other team's top receiver. Not necessarily a necessity, but it's really nice to have. And when you look at some of these contracts that have been signed by corners who are, you're not like tip top of the market. You're not like Jalen Ramsey a couple of years ago where he's resetting the market, or Marshawn Lattimore a couple of years ago. But like guys like Jalen Johnson for the Chicago Bears, that's a pretty good comp. They're about the same size. They both play outside corner. They both had similar seasons. Jalen Johnson went to the Pro Bowl last year. Jalen Johnson signed a 4-year, $76 million contract. So, I think when you're looking at those two, when you're looking at Lattimore and Adebo, if you're the Saints, you're like, okay, can we keep both of them? Probably not. Do we want to keep Lattimore, who's, still, I think, under contractual control for another 3 years at that rate? But a little bit more injury history, a little bit older? Or do you want to keep Adebo and try to trade Lattimore, and then just instead of having the ace top corner who's going to match up with Devontae Adams and A.J. Brown and Mike Evans and all that stuff, you're kind of more of like the traditional look where you just got three good players. They got Julio McKinstry waiting in the wings. I think one of those two players that we're talking about between Lattimore and Adebo is going to be gone to get McKinstry on the field. I just don't know. I wish I had insight in the way the Saints thought about that.
Yeah, I mean, that's an interesting piece. There's some depth here, which is not necessarily the case around the roster. Alontae Taylor's a guy that we haven't talked about. What was your assessment of his play last year?
I mean, it was really up and down. And I think Alontae Taylor's a really good player, but they asked him to do a really difficult thing. They basically went into training camp saying, we don't know what your role is going to be. You're going to compete for the outside corner job with Adebo. When he lost it, they were like, okay, we're going to release Bradley Roby, who's this veteran slot corner who knows what he's doing there, and we're just going to play you on the inside and let you figure it out. And I mean, it doesn't take like a football X's and O's genius to understand that that's a lot harder to do if you're not used to playing on the inside. Because when you're playing on the outside, you've got like the sideline as an extra defender to help. On the inside, I mean, you're just in space. So I think he's struggled with that sometimes. And he's a really aggressive player, and he's struggled with some of the run fit stuff. It's why he got benched late in the year, and he got back in the lineup, got benched again. It's just there's a big learning curve. But I think the fact that he's been able to, he had that whole experience last year, and then he's been able to train this offseason knowing that he is their starting slot corner. I think that will really help. And I'm honestly expecting a lot of improvement out of him this year.
Is Jordan Howden ready for the prime time?
It's interesting. Part of me thinks they're just not done at safety because they have Tyrann Mathieu, who's a very good starting option, a very good starting player, even if he's limited in some parts of playing the position. I think he's still upper echelon. And then, strong safety, you have Jonathan Abram, who has significant liability in coverage. You got Jordan Howden, who's really, really up and down as a rookie when he's asked to play a lot of snaps. And then you got like a lot of guys out there who were Pro Bowlers last year who are still unsigned. And the Saints have $12 million in cap space. I mean, it just seems like an obvious spot to go address like a weaker spot on your roster, unless they feel comfortable trusting Jordan Howden in that position. But when we're looking at the team lining up in OTAs and in minicamp, they're kind of trading guys in and out. A lot of times it was Jonathan Abram in the starting 11. And then, they get into sub defensive packages or nickel or dime or whatever, and they put Jordan Howden in. And it's like, that doesn't really seem like a viable solution to just, to trade the guys out depending on what package you're in. So I don't know. I don't know if Jordan Howden's ready to be the starting safety. I could be wrong on that, but just based on the way they've lined up, it just seems like that's not the case right now.
Would you call the secondary the strength of the team?
Yeah, 100%. I mean, the strong safety thing notwithstanding, you're 4 deep at corner. You've got still a really good, smart, strong leader in Tyrann Mathieu at free safety. I think that's a strength of the team, offense and defense. They're really, really talented there. They're deep there. They've even got some like interesting guys kind of waiting in the wings who we don't really know a lot about. But I mean, like last year, they just plugged a special teams guy in there who'd been bounced around the league and been with like 4 teams. And Ike Yadam had a really nice season as a cover corner and signed a free agent deal with San Francisco. I think they're good at identifying talent there and guys who fit their scheme and their system. And if for whatever reason Marshawn Lattimore or Paulson Adebo or Alontae Taylor or Kool-Aid McKinstry get hurt, I think they're able to plug guys in there and not have this huge drop off. 100%, deepest unit on the team. And I think it has potential at corner especially to be one of the better units in the NFL if Marshawn Lattimore stays healthy, if Paulson Adebo doesn't drop off, if Alontae Taylor takes a leap in his second year as a slot corner. They could be really, really good there.
What's your travel schedule like out to California? When are you heading that way?
Well, the Saints were considered enough to have their report day be my 8th anniversary, so I'm flying out on that day for a month. Thankfully, my wife is very understanding of the travel requirements of my job, so we're going to celebrate the day before our anniversary.
There you go. Well, enjoy the rest of your time up there in Wisconsin. Safe travels back, and we'll talk next week as we get ready for camp.
Sounds good, man. Thanks for having me on.
He's Luke Johnson at @ByLukeJohnson on Twitter for all your Saints coverage. There's no better spot than our guy Luke is with us each and every Thursday. I think in a passing league, that's a good spot to have the strength of your team. I realize that you gotta win up front in every league that you play in, but it's not the worst thing in the world to have some really good players out there in a league that wants to chuck it around and score points by throwing the football. So there are some issues with the Saints. We are well aware of that all over the place, but you feel pretty good about what they've got in the secondary and the guy coaching the secondary, and Dennis Allen, if they can stay healthy. It's just a monster if. So we shall see. We'll switch back to LSU baseball. Anthony Ianson is in the boat. What does it look like from a pitching staff perspective? I'll give you my thoughts coming up next.
You are now listening to The Hunt Palmer Show.
One Bath and Closets. OneBathAndClosets.com is the website I tell you about each and every day. David Duvall and his team, 30 years redesigning and remodeling bathrooms and closets. Look, maybe it's a full-scale closet or bathroom renovation. They can do that. They're a licensed contractor. They'll be the only phone call that you make throughout this entire process. David Duvall and his team will handle it from start to finish. Maybe it's something simple like a tub-to-shower conversion. We use our tub every single night because we got a 2-year-old splashing all over the place and throwing toys and dumping water on me. If you don't do that and you don't use the bathtub and it's dingy or dirty or just sitting there not being used, take it out. Put in a gorgeous glass walk-in shower, changes the look of your bathroom, changes the functionality of your bathroom, adds some value to your home. David Duvall and his team happy to help you with that, and they'll give you $1,000 off if you tell them the Hunt Palmer Show sent you over there. $1,000 off. That's not insignificant, as you well know. Go to the website, OneBathAndClosets.com. Check out the testimonials. Check out pictures of their awesome work. They'll show you some of the things that they can do for you, and you can get that free consultation. That doesn't cost you anything. Just have the talk about what they can do for you inside your home. It's David Duvall and his team at One Bath and Closets. Check them out online, OneBathAndClosets.com.
In times of need, get a full list of phone numbers, websites, and other important emergency information on the Demco Stormwatch page at 1045ESPN.com.
When it comes to ending cancer, we push forward, always working together for you. That's why our cancer experts at Ochsner have clinically integrated with MD Anderson Cancer Center. This means advanced cancer care, including access to life-saving clinical trials and integrating care to treat the whole you. Introducing Ochsner MD Anderson Cancer Center. Long live you.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
The best kept secret in town is out. Discover Tallulah at the Renaissance Hotel on Bluebonnet.
Elevate brand visibility, ignite customer engagement with the power of radio and digital advertising combined. Guarantee Digital Media brings the two together as a trusted media partner in Louisiana for nearly a century. Claim your free digital audit at guaranteemedia.com.
Bayou Ford has $10,000 off F-150. $10,000 off the new 2024 Ford F-150. And all new Bayou Ford vehicles come with a 7-year, 100,000-mile warranty. The crew at Bayou Ford is going to do right by you.
Farming is a way of life for us. It's not something we get up in the morning and dread going do. It's just something we go to bed at night looking forward to getting up to go do. John Deere equipment is what we as farmers strive to have. It's in your blood, it's in your veins. It's just a part of who you are. Green is what we want to be in. The other tractors were acquired to patch it up to get to where you want to be. Where we want to be is in John Deere. Flip the switch and learn more about what it means to be powered by sunshine at sunequip.com.
Jerry and Benny Payne began Central Plumbing Company out of their driveway in Tanglewood subdivision. 50 years later and 4 generations down the road, we continue to serve Baton Rouge and the surrounding areas for all of their plumbing needs. Residential, commercial, industrial, or hospitality, Central Plumbing is here 24/7.
Sandegriff joined me and Jimmy out for the Friday edition of Live at Lunch from Rufino's on Highland Road. Bruce Marshall and Troy Macro will join us, and we'll get you ready for the weekend. Live at Lunch, 11 a.m. Friday from Rufino's on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
This is the Hunt Palmer Show, brought to you by Rouse's Supermarkets.
All right, let's take a look at LSU's pitching staff right now as they look towards draft weekend that is coming up. The draft starts on Sunday in the first round, and then we'll kind of get into what the rest of the summer looks like and what looks like that we'll be looking at in the fall. Players that are coming back from last year's roster. Chase Shores will be back. Jaden Newt will be back. Cade Anderson will be back. DJ Cade Woods is coming back. Go professional. He could come back. I haven't seen him in the transfer portal. And then, of course, you've got the big one in Griffin Herring. But honestly, it could be just 4 guys back from last year's roster, and 2 of them didn't help you in Chase Shores and Jaden Newt. DJ Primo didn't pitch much, and Cade Anderson was kind of an afterthought much of the year. But that's in total 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 guys theoretically that could come back from last year's staff. You've gone to the transfer portal and absolutely loaded up with pitchers. Anthony Ianson, right-hander from UCSD, who's a starter. Luke Hayden, right-hander from Indiana State, who's a starter. Zach Cohen, right-hander from Wofford, who's a starter. Devin Sheeran, right-hander from Mount St. Mary's, who's a starter. Jacob Myers, right-hander from Nichols, who's a starter. Connor Benj, a right-handed reliever from Dallas Baptist. And Chandler Dorsey, the right-handed South Florida closer. So all the portal guys are right-handed. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 of them, and 5 of them have been starters at their previous location. And then you've got the signing class that you're looking at. Connor Ware is a JUCO left-hander. William Schmidt, the right-hander from right here in Catholic High. Boston Bateman, big left-handed pitcher, huge velocity, 6'8". Maverick Rizzi, 6'9", right-hander from the high school ranks. And Kason Evans, a right-handed pitcher out of the Houston area from high school. So your signing class has 5 guys in it, and you've got 3 significant draft risks there in Connor Ware, William Schmidt, and Boston Bateman. So as I look at this, and I start to think about the starting rotation, which is what everybody wants to think about at this point in the year. We realize that once you get to SEC tournament time, certainly into regional time, and then into Omaha time, like you need a staff full of dudes. It doesn't matter the 3 guys who happen to pitch every Friday, Saturday, Sunday in the SEC. Like you need a host of guys who can get outs, but you set your table for the NCAA tournament with how you perform in the SEC, and those are 3-game series, and the 3 guys that you send out there are very, very important on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Chase Shores, we think, is a viable option as a weekend starter. He has not done that in his time at LSU other than the first couple of weeks of his college career. He then became a reliever, then he got hurt. But Chase Shores is a viable option. He's fairly healthy. He's rehabbing. He's in Baton Rouge. Jay Johnson has said he's up to 98, 99 miles an hour. Like, he's going to be ready to pitch in the fall, and he'll certainly be ready to go in mid-February. So Shores is a viable option. Jaden Newt was brought here to be a weekend starter. He is healthy, but he's coming back from injury. I'm not sure about Jaden Newt at this point. We saw him for 1 outing this year, so I'm not sure, but I'll put him in there as number 2 because he was brought here for that purpose. He was a very highly thought of high school player. Cade Anderson is absolutely, in my eyes, a viable starting rotation guy. He's left-handed. He throws 94 miles an hour. He's got a big breaking ball. We saw flashes of brilliance early in midweek games, and then we saw it in the regional. I think he's absolutely a viable candidate to be a starter. Griffin Herring, I put him at the end of the coming back guys because there's a real chance he could move on. The buzz that you've started to hear over the last 2 weeks is that maybe Jared Jones is thinking about coming back. Maybe Griffin Herring is thinking about leaving. I told you for weeks I thought that would be flipped, and it still could be flipped. All this happens in the course of 2 minutes, whether a team decides they want to make that plunge or don't, and that's what the draft is. So that Herring, absolutely a viable candidate to start. We don't know if he can do it, but his floor is a high-end reliever. Like, that's the floor for Griffin Herring because we've already seen it. So you look at the guys coming back, Shores, Newt, Anderson, and potentially Herring. That's 4 guys. Anthony Ianson, absolutely starting pitching rotation candidate, for sure. Luke Hayden, absolutely starting pitching candidate. He's done it at Indiana State. He's a draft risk, could not end up in Baton Rouge, but he's done it at Indiana State, and he did a pretty good job with it. Zach Cohen, absolutely a guy who can be a weekend starter. I told you we played not famously at all. We did play when he committed to LSU. My thoughts on him the Tuesday prior to the regional, when that's who we thought we would see that Friday for Wofford, and it turns out they gave him an extra day of rest. But I told you what I thought before I ever knew he was going to put on purple and gold, and I said he doesn't look like a Friday guy to me in purple and gold. Or the SEC, he probably looks like more of a Sunday guy, but I think he could do it. And so I still feel very much that way. Devin Sheeran is a big-time projectable dude. Mount St. Mary's has started up to 99 miles an hour, good breaking ball, pitched against Mississippi State early in the season last year. Yeah, he's a viable candidate to be a starting pitcher, and if not, he could be a very high-leverage bullpen guy because of his talent level. Jacob Myers has been a starter at Nicholls State for 2 years. Walk trouble concerns me greatly with him, but he's been a starting pitcher and has struck out a ton of dudes in 2 years as a starting pitcher and pitched in a regional game quite well in Tuscaloosa. So those guys, in my eyes, are starting pitching candidates out of the portal. Ianson, Hayden, Cohen, Sheeran, Myers. That's 5 guys out of the portal. Then you go to the signees. Connor Ware, absolutely a starting pitching candidate. He's left-handed. He's got a big body. He throws a ton of strikes. He's got a very fluid motion. He's a draft risk. I don't know that he throws the hardest of anybody in this signing class, but he certainly throws in the 90s, and I think is a candidate to be a left-handed starter. William Schmidt absolutely has starting pitching traits, and I think probably would be a starter if he showed up here. Boston Bateman, in my opinion, is absolutely a starting pitching candidate as well. 6'8" left-hander who throws really, really hard. So 3 guys in your signing class. If you put all those together, Chase Shores, I'm not even going to put Jaden Newt in this. Let's go Chase Shores, Cade Anderson, Griffin Herring, Anthony Ianson, Luke Hayden, Zach Cohen, Devin Sheeran, Jacob Myers, Connor Ware, William Schmidt, Boston Bateman. That is 11 names that I just rattled off that absolutely profile as SEC starting weekend pitchers. 11 guys. Now, Herring can go to the draft. Hayden can go to the draft. Schmidt may go in the draft. Bateman may go in the draft. Ware may go in the draft. You have risks there, a few of them. But as we sit here today, on July the 11th, there are 11 guys that profile as starting pitchers in the SEC. It feels like going 3 out of 11 shouldn't be that difficult. But keep in mind, last year, when we looked at this and we saw the roster, I said very much the same thing I'm saying right now, and LSU floundered around and couldn't find a third starter basically the entirety of the season. I mean, I remember sitting here, entering the season, looking at this team going, well, I absolutely feel like that Luke Holman is a starting pitcher in the SEC. I absolutely feel that Thatcher Hurd is a starting pitcher in the SEC. I think Chase Shores could be that guy as a freshman. Christian Little may be that good if he kind of turns it on and figures it out. Gage Jump, I feel like, is a starter. We saw Nate Ackenhausen start in Omaha. He could stretch out. Man, did you see Cade Anderson's profile coming out of high school? He could be the guy. Javen Coleman could be a starting pitcher. Cam Johnson, whoa, what an ad for LSU. That guy may be a starting pitcher in SEC play. And you look up, and all of a sudden, yeah, Holman's pitching it nicely. Yeah, Jump's doing pretty well. We got nobody else. So it's not a guarantee that this whole thing clicks. But it's a numbers game that I'm sitting here playing. And I'm going, if I'm sitting here right now, and if you want to add Jaden Newton, make it 12. If you don't have it 11, they got to go 3 out of 11. That seems doable. But you look around the SEC, and it just doesn't happen very often. A&M couldn't find a third starter this year. Now, Chris Cortez probably could have been it, but they preferred him out of the bullpen in the same way that Griffin Herring probably could have adapted into a starting pitching role this year. But they liked him out of the bullpen to try to nail down the few wins they could get early in league play. Florida couldn't find a third starter this year, like Arkansas did, but that's rare. Mississippi State did. That's rare. Vanderbilt did, but it doesn't happen for everybody. Certainly Georgia didn't. They were national seed. South Carolina didn't. So it's rare, even in this era of pulling guys from the farm system, as I call it, which is lower level baseball, that you've got guys who slot in 1, 2, and 3. It's an advantage, but it's the bigger picture is probably more important of just having more guys who can go get outs. But the good news is I'm profiling all these guys as starting pitchers. I actually know that Ianson, Hayden, Cohen, Sheeran, Myers, that's 5 guys they've got out of the transfer portal, have gone through an entire season in college baseball as starting pitchers and had success doing it. So it's not like you got to pull this guy who throws 98 miles an hour. It's not like you got to pull Zach Hess and make him a starter. It's guys that have done this before in college. Now, they haven't done it against A&M and against Florida yet, but 5 guys out of the portal absolutely have been starting pitchers in college and have done well. And then you've got some guys with projectability, with Anderson, with Bateman, with Shores, with Herring, like those kind of guys that you toss in. So Jay Johnson and Nate Yeske, you're going to look at this, and you got to develop all of them. But when things get boiled down, and Joe Healy did a great job when we had him on every single Thursday during baseball season of kind of saying, once we got to like May 1st, he's like, at this point in the year, everybody's kind of got like 6 guys. And they got 6 guys they trust to get outs. Friday night starter, it's your high-leverage bullpen guy, your second starter that you like, guy that you feel like can get you off to a good start in game 3s, left-hander that comes in the bullpen and is a little bit funky, but like usually like 6 guys. And when I look at this staff and you look at the numbers they've created, and I have not, in the course of just talking about starting pitchers, have not included here Connor Bench, who's throwing up to 97 miles an hour at Dallas Baptist. I have not included Chandler Dorsey in that, who's been the closer at South Florida, who throws 97 miles an hour. I did not include Fidel Ulloa in that discussion here. And those guys could certainly be bullpen pieces. As I said, it's a numbers game. How many good arms can you get in? And we'll have to look at how the next 7 days go with the draft. Because you'll start on Sunday and you'll go into Monday and Tuesday, and you'll kind of see how the picks shake out, and then we'll have a pretty good idea of where things stand. On tomorrow's show, I'm going to give you my predictions on what happens in the draft early on. And we'll evaluate that on Monday. The draft will be ongoing on Monday, and then we'll really know on Wednesday where things shake out. Then you wait on signings, which we used to have to wait the whole summer. They used to make those picks in mid-June, early June even, and you had to wait until like August 1st for the signing deadline. Now they've crunched it all down. August 1st is it's in 3 weeks. So it gets expedited. But we'll kind of know. But I think there's reason to be very excited about the talent level that could be on this pitching staff. Again, same thing we said last year, I'm well aware. But it's the only way to do it. If you're going to turn over half your roster, more than half your roster every year with the transfer portal and the draft, you're just going to have to keep playing this number game and bring guys in. And certainly, 3 or 4 guys I'm listing here are just not going to pan out. It's just not going to work. It's part of it. But if you can get 8 or 9 that do, you're in good shape. That's a look at LSU's pitching staff moving forward into the 2025 season. All right, when we come back, we're going to let's do a dad joke to end the hour, and I'm going to talk about a person that I really, really enjoy. We'll talk about that coming up next.
You are now listening to The Hunt Palmer Show.
Boudreaux's Electric. Beryl has come and gone, but I'm guessing she's not going to be last. So the time to think about a home standby generator is not when you're sitting in a hot, dark house. The time to think about it is now. I tell you every single day about Boudreaux's Electrical. Neil and Melissa have been running their business down there for 40 years. If you do something for 40 years, you're doing it the right way. And Neil and Melissa certainly are, as is their son Jeremy, who's taking over as sales manager down there. Get that home standby generator installed soon, because the storm season appears to be pretty active, and the peace of mind that you can get from a Boudreaux's Electrical standby generator is priceless. Because even if you leave for the hurricane and evacuate, when you come back, the house will be cool, the power will be on, the fridge and freezer will have been running. And how disgusting are some of those fridges that you come back to that have been off for a week and a half? Smells awful, got to clean it out. It's just a hassle. It's just part of the whole deal. You can prevent it with the Generac home standby generator from Boudreaux's Electrical. Check them out online, boudreauxelectrical.com, or you can give them a call, 985-397-1562. Every Generac home standby generator going to come with a 7 to 10 year warranty. It's a lot of peace of mind that the folks at Boudreaux's Electrical can give you. Check them out online or give them a call at 985-397-1562.
Get the 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge app powered by Bayou Ford and tap the microphone icon to send us your thoughts in an audio message. Your message could be played on air during Off the Bench with Esther and T-Bob, The Hunt Palmer Show, and after further review with Matt Moscone.
BRAC teamed up to reimagine your parks, and you imagined big. With your help, we went to work, creating 12 beautiful community parks across the parish. A family-sized water park, miles and miles of trails, and parks just for your dogs. There are more places to splash, to explore, to run wild, and even soar. You imagined, we delivered. Gold. BRAC, your #1 park system in the nation.
Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram is taking $20,000 off new 23 Ram 1500 trucks. We're open for business in our beautiful new showroom and taking $20,000 off the powerful Ram truck. All new Bayou vehicles come with a 7-year, 100,000-mile warranty. The crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
Electricity is all around us, and our families depend on it. Every day is sparked by the power of a cold drink or a warm meal, a movie night, and a comforting light at the end of a dark hallway. From sunrise to sunset, playtime to bedtime, our team is ready to take care of your electrical needs. Even in the case of an after-hours emergency, the light in your life shines brighter with Mr. Electric.
Hey, it's Matt Moscona. For years, you've heard me tell you about Insurance Network of Louisiana, helping you find better coverage for less money. But it's not just for your home and auto. They also offer commercial property. So, retail stores, professional offices like doctors, dentists, attorneys, clothing boutiques. Insurance Network of Louisiana can find you better coverage for less money. They service the entire state of Louisiana, and they're local. So call today at 293-0450 or lainsurance.net.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
Moscona inviting you to join us for Thursday's AFR, the latest LSU baseball transfer portal news, and Matt Borman from the Tiger Athletic Foundation talking a little LSU NIL. Join us 3 to 6, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
You are listening to The Hunt Palmer Show, brought to you by Rouse's Supermarkets.
Shout out to the folks over at Rouse's. Download the Rouse's app. Get your weekend grocery shopping done the right way with the folks over at Rouse's. Don't have time to stop in the store? That's okay. You can shop right there on the app. Your personal shopper can go in, pick it all up for you, drop it off at the front of the store. No extra charge if you spend $35 or more. So download that Rouse's app today. You know, in this era of hot takes, this era of we got to mic up the shortstop during a Major League Baseball game so that kids will watch. It's just nice every once in a while.
Okay, wait a second.
Okay, let's go ahead.
You're telling me that you don't enjoy whenever they're able to interview a guy on the field during the game?
No, I don't care about that. Let him go play the game.
They're playing the game. It's fine. I was watching a Mets game. Pete Alonso.
I was watching the game earlier this week where they had him mic'd up, or two guys mic'd up, and they had a pop-up, and nobody called it and just dropped right in front of them.
Okay, well, I was watching a game in the Mets, and Pete Alonso.
It's just unnecessary.
He was playing the position perfectly fine and talking while play was happening. Like, it was actually pretty impressive to me.
I don't want to see that.
Okay.
Just let's play the game.
You're just such a purist, Hunt.
Exactly. Here's what I want. I want Tim Kirkjian making a dad joke. That's what I want.
It was unbelievably hot yesterday.
I believe you sent a text to everybody, and you said it was 1,000 degrees.
Ravi, I saw a dog chasing a cat yesterday, and they were both walking. It was really hot.
Really, Tim?
And then Ravitch comes back and said, how long have you been sitting on that one? Like, you can tell that Kirkjian had that one queued up for over 24 hours. And it's such a dad joke, and it's so Kirkjian. And I'll just be honest, I miss the days where Tim Kirkjian was on Baseball Tonight, and that was what ESPN was showing on television. Instead of what NFC East quarterback is the best 365 days a year. When we had Carl Ravitch and Tim Kirkjian and Peter Gammons and Harold Reynolds and John Kruk and those guys doing Baseball Tonight. And now we got to have hot takes, and we got to mic up all the players. And I just am an old fuddy-duddy when it comes to things, and I think Tim Kirkjian is as well. And that just, I saw it on Twitter today, and it just made me chuckle. Brought me back to a simpler time, Beck.
That's great.
Simpler time. What you need? You need the guys mic'd up. You like Stephen A?
I don't need it, but it's cool to see. It's really interesting idea that they had to do that. I mean, do you like? I guess you probably. Even though you are a big golf purist, I'm guessing you don't mind whenever they talk to the guys walking.
Oh, walk and talk's great.
Okay, that's fine because it's not like
they're walking down the fairway.
Yeah, that's
when it's time to hit the shot, let's ditch the.
Okay.
Let's go hit the shot.
Right.
We don't need to hit the shot with earbuds in. We don't need to hit putts with earbuds in. We don't need to mic up the point guard while he's working the pick and roll.
Okay, basketball I think is probably a little bit different because baseball there's so much time in between plays that it's to me it's fine.
It is very different. I just don't need it. We have to do all these things.
No, we don't need it, Hon. Of course we don't need it.
Because these kids and their iPhones won't watch the game.
How do you know that? How do you know there's not plenty? There's probably plenty of adults out there. I'm an adult and I enjoy the interviews while they're playing.
Well, then you're an idiot.
Okay.
It made me think of it. Tim Kirkjian is one of my favorite ESPN personalities of all time because when I used to watch him on TV on Baseball Tonight, like he would give me statistics and things that had never happened before. Like his books wildly fascinated me. And now TV is not as good as it once was. It's just
a
simpler time.
You're really just
How old do you think I
heart.
actually am?
You're just 60 at heart, Hunt.
I think I'm maybe 75.
Maybe, honestly.
My time's coming to an end. It's been a good go.
Yeah.
But it is what it is. We got to I can't even. That line just made me laugh so hard because he thought it was going to be really funny, and the funny part was that he said it and everybody's like, "Oh, you came up with that a day ago." And Ravish's was like, "How long have you been sitting on that one, Timmy?" I don't do it for the first hour here. We did talk about some constructive things. I went through LSU's pitching staff. Luke Johnson and I went through the Saints secondary. We talked about the new ad in the transfer portal for LSU, Anthony Ianson. So you can catch all that on demand if you missed it. We'll pause for SportsCenter. When we come back, Keith Law's big board, looking at the MLB draft. We've also got some changes at Tiger Stadium coming. We'll talk about that as well in hour number 2. You're listening to The Hunt Palmer Show.
You are now listening to The Hunt Palmer Show.
There's nothing chill about a hot, sweaty line. Unless you add Mountain Cold Refreshment. Coors Light. Choose chill.
Bayou Ford has $10,000 off F-150. $10,000 off the new 2024 Ford F-150. And all new Bayou Ford vehicles come with a 7-year, 100,000-mile warranty. The crew at Bayou Ford is going to do right by you.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Farming is a way of life for us. It's not something we get up in the morning and dread going do. It's just something we go to bed at night looking forward to getting up to go do. John Deere equipment is what we as farmers strive to have. It's in your blood, it's in your veins. It's just a part of who you are. Green is what we want to be in. The other tractors were acquired to patch it up to get to where you want to be. Where we want to be is in John Deere. Flip the switch and learn more about what it means to be powered by sunshine at sunequip.com.
Jerry and Benny Payne began Central Plumbing Company out of their driveway in Tanglewood subdivision. 50 years later and 4 generations down the road, we continue to serve Baton Rouge and the surrounding areas for all of their plumbing needs. Residential, commercial, industrial, or hospitality, Central Plumbing is here 24/7, 365.
We want to thank our customers, family, and friends for 50 years of success.
And looking forward to 50 more.
Breck teamed up to reimagine your parks, and you imagined big. With your help, we went to work, creating 12 beautiful community parks across the parish. A family-sized water park, miles and miles of trails, and parks just for your dogs. There are more places to splash, to explore, to run wild, and even soar. You imagined, we delivered. Gold. Breck, your #1 park system in the nation.
Electricity is all around us, and our families depend on it. Every day is sparked by the power of a cold drink or a warm meal, a movie night, and a comforting light at the end of a dark hallway. From sunrise to sunset, playtime to bedtime, our team is ready to take care of your electrical needs. Even in the case of an after-hours emergency, the light in your life shines brighter with Mr. Electric.
Hey, it's Matt Moscona. For years, you've heard me tell you about Insurance Network of Louisiana, helping you find better coverage for less money. But it's not just for your home and auto. They also offer commercial property. So, retail stores, professional offices like doctors, dentists, attorneys, clothing boutiques, Insurance Network of Louisiana can find you better coverage for less money. They service the entire state of Louisiana, and they're local. So call today at 293-0450 or lainsurance.net.
This is SportsCenter.
I'm Doug Brown. The Tennessee Titans will sign free agent safety Jamal Adams. He played the last 4 years with the Seahawks and was cut back in March. Adams missed almost half of Seattle's games during those 4 years after a torn quad above his left knee. As Cowboys quarterback Dak Prescott starts the last season of his current contract, ESPN's Mike Tannenbaum offers up a possible scenario.
How do you know that he necessarily wants to be there? Like, maybe he wants to play out the contract and say, you know what, like, it's been an honor and privilege to be the, quarterback of the Cowboys, but maybe, being the quarterback of a somewhat little bit more of an anonymous team is, something I want to try for the next part of my career.
Mike Tannenbaum on Unsportsmanlike. At Wimbledon today, Barbara Krejcikova and Jasmine Paolini both advance to Saturday's final for the first time. Both came from a set down, with Paolini needing a tiebreaker in the third to beat Donna Vekic. Tomorrow, the men's semifinals starting at 8 a.m. Eastern on ESPN.
Here's one stat that's super simple to remember. Discover automatically doubles the cash back on your credit card at the end of your first year with Cashback Match. With Discover, you could turn $150 cash back to $300. See terms at discover.com/credit card.
Ladies and gentlemen, may I direct your attention to something quite extraordinary?
Now, the Hunt Palmer Show. The Hunt Palmer Show on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge. Brought to you by Rouse's Supermarkets. Live from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge Studios. This is Hunt Palmer.
Hour number 2, Thursday edition of the Hunt Palmer Show, working towards the weekend. Glad you're hanging out with us here on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge. We got plenty to get to here in hour number 2. Tiger Stadium going to undergo some changes for the fall. We'll let you know what those are and what I think of them coming up in 15 minutes. But Keith Law came out with his final top 100 of the year and his final mock draft of the year as the draft starts on Sunday. And, of course, LSU will be largely affected by this draft positively and negatively. And I hate to frame it that way because some kids' dreams are going to come true. But it's at the expense of LSU in a couple of cases. And so I wanted to go into this. There's one very interesting piece to this. I know that we've done this segment a few times. There's one very interesting piece here that we'll get to. So in the mock draft, where we'll start, this is actual selections, not top 100 players, which is a different exercise. These are actual picks. Keith Law has the first LSU-centric player coming off the board as Cam Caminiti at number 11. Left-handed pitcher, out west, going to be a heck of a pro. Connor Griffin comes off one pick later at 12. So those are the top 2 LSU signees. We haven't considered them as LSU possibilities at all this whole process and still don't. Those 2 guys go in the top 12. The next LSU-centric guy coming off the board in this mock draft is Tommy White at 26 to the Yankees. Now, in a 30-pick mock draft of the first round, he does not have William Schmidt in that mock draft. And then you would ask yourself, well, why? He's had him in there before. I look at Kylie McDaniel's mock drafts, he's in there. I look at Baseball America's mock drafts, he's in there. Why not? Well, I'll go over to Keith Law's top 100 where he does have William Schmidt at number 28. And this is what he opens his scouting report of William Schmidt with. Keep in mind, there is tongue-in-cheek here, and I kind of appreciate it. This is the scouting report on William Schmidt from Keith Law. Schmidt is committed to the local university, I forget the name of it, and I doubt it will be easy to pry him away. Interesting. He continues, but he's the top prep right-hander in the class, and he should get first-round money as a result. Then he goes into his repertoire, 70 fastball, 70 curveball, changeup, all that kind of stuff. That is likely because he writes that he'll be difficult to pry, or not easy to pry away, because he's been told that by someone in the industry. Now, you can choose to believe that's been told to him because it's true, because William Schmidt and his family value the college experience and playing for LSU, which has been a dream of his and his parents forever. Or you can believe that it's a leverage ploy to grab an extra $300,000 from the MLB team that eventually takes William Schmidt. And the truth is that it's probably both. It's probably a situation where William Schmidt's very comfortable playing at LSU, but my suggestion would be that it's probably a situation where he's going to get the money he asks for. Whether that's with the 18th pick or with the 26th pick or even with the 38th pick out of the first round because some team has a big bonus pool, has saved some money, and can pay him over slot. I think it's interesting that he doesn't have him in his first round. I think it's interesting that he's been told he won't be easy to pry away from LSU. I'm still not going to get my hopes sky high. They're up. They're I can see them, but they're not sky high. So we'll continue here. That's all for the mock draft. Caminiti at 11, Connor Griffin at 12, Tommy White at 26, no William Schmidt. As for the top 100, which is a totally different exercise, it's just Keith Law's evaluation of the players 1 through 100. He's got Connor Griffin at 10, Tommy White at 20, Cam Kennedy at 27, William Schmidt at 28. The next up is Boston Bateman at 51. That is a little bit higher than I recall seeing Bateman often. I've told you a lot about him. Big left-handed arm, power stuff as a high schooler. And we'll see if he ends up on campus. Law writes, Bateman can hold 93 to 95 deep into starts and flashes a good slider with hard, sharp tilt to the pitch. He's a big kid, 6'8", 240, with a strong frame that should see him over 260 pounds. I'd really like to see that development in Baton Rouge, quite frankly. Boston Bateman out of Camarillo High School in Camarillo, California, is a big-time prospect, and we'll see if LSU can get him through the draft. He's 51 on this list. 57 is Jared Jones. Now, this is an interesting piece of analysis from Keith Law on Jared Jones because it kind of paints things negatively about Jared Jones. It says Jones has enormous raw power, perhaps the best in the college group after Jack Caglione, so he could still end up going in the top 60 picks, even as a straight first baseman whose strikeout rate is up. His swing is fine, even short for his big frame, but he transfers his weight too early. He's over his front side too soon, and it deprives him of some power with the wooden bat. He struggled on the Cape last summer, and it hurts his ability to pick up pitch types. He whiffed way too often this year on off-speed pitches in the zone. Over 50% of the time he swung at curveballs and changeups in the zone. He's just barely draft eligible by age. He turns 21 on August 1st. I don't know if all of you are aware of this. Jared Jones is literally draft eligible by a matter of hours. I don't know when he was born. If he was born at 4 in the morning, he's 4 hours draft eligible. If he was born at 11 o'clock at night, he's 23 hours eligible. But you get the point. He was born on the cutoff date. So maybe we could have waited on the induction there, Mom. I guess that's not really my call 21 years later. But this picture is being painted a little bit more negatively than we think of here at LSU. Oh, my God, 28 home runs. He cut down on the swing and misses. He didn't strike out on the breaking ball quite as much. And Keith Law looks at it and goes, yeah, but he does it a lot. And I'm going, well, if he's not good enough, he's not good enough. He's got to play at LSU for another year. But that is where this rumbling is coming from that you've heard over the last week and a half that Jones could perhaps be back. I have told you for weeks now that I thought Herring would be back and that Jones would leave, and it feels like those two ships are passing. Again, it could be the opposite. It could be the same. We're not sure. The draft is a funny thing, and organizations have their money, and they have their board, and things happen, and you're not really sure what's going to take place over 72 hours, but it feels like that's kind of the way things are moving. Luke Coleman is number 64 on this list. Gage Jump is number 68 on this list. And then the last LSU-centric player on this list is a signee that I don't know that I've seen a lot of top 100s on lately. He certainly was this time last year, but lately, and it's Cade Arambidi. Now, you know Cade Arambidi to this point. He's the high school catcher out of the Houston area, and he would be a really good get at a program that's still looking for catching. No question. And Law writes, he's a very strong and offers future plus power that would make him a regular if he stays behind the plate. He's got a wide stance with no stride or a toe tap, so his timing isn't great, and he swings and misses way more than he should. While behind the plate, he's got a cannon, but gets mixed reviews on his receiving. He's committed to LSU, and as the spring progressed, some scouts got the sense he'd prefer college to pro ball right now. That is as good as you can get. Keith Law, I don't think he would mind me saying this. Not that he cares about anything I say, but he's not a huge fan of the college baseball game. He thinks the pitchers get overused. He thinks that the professional game is the best way to get yourself ready to play in the major leagues, which is all he really cares about. We care about the scoreboard from February to June down here, so it's a little different perspective. But to hear him say that this is a kid who very much is looking at college baseball is an encouraging thing for me. Again, I feel like I don't need to throw this caveat out there, but I do. When we frame this, I realize that I'm suggesting the greatest day in some of these young people's lives is horrible for those of us who pull for LSU's baseball team. I don't feel that way truly. It's so great that these kids get $4 million based on the talent level they have and the work they've put in their high school and college careers. But obviously, we care about winning baseball games down here. So that's the way I'm going to frame it. That's the way I feel about it, understanding that the big picture is far more important than playing the game. It's these kids and young people's lives that we're talking about. But, man, if you could get, Schmidt goes without saying, but if you could get Jarrett Jones and Carrie Beatty back to add to this lineup, that's a big deal. And Keith Law kind of framed them both in a way that you feel like it very well might happen. And then you go to the mock draft where he says that William Schmidt is not a first-round pick by his eye, and then says it won't be easy to pry him away from LSU. Like, that's about as encouraging of a mock draft in a top 100 as I can paint for you, and Keith Law is the one with the brush. If you want to read the entirety of the mock, there's some other things that I think are interesting based on what your team may pick, or a lot of SEC guys or guys we're familiar with. It's over on The Athletic, and it's up until draft time coming up on Sunday. On tomorrow's show, I will tell you what I think is going to happen by my eye based on some of the things I've heard. I can promise you Keith Law hears a lot more than me, but I'm only covering one school here, so I got a lot less information to dole out that may be pertinent. So I'll talk about that on tomorrow's show as we get ready for the draft coming up this weekend. Our Thursday show is brought to you by Rouse's. They're making changes at Tiger Stadium this fall. What are they? I'll tell you about them next.
You are now listening to The Hunt Palmer Show.
Visit LeBair's Baton Rouge Casino this summer for exciting live sports action. We've got the biggest screens around, and ESPN Bet is live in Louisiana. Plus, Pin Play Rewards members can win up to $500 in pin cash every single week. I'm going to give you that web address. It's the numeral 5 at the end. It's pinplaysports.com/cover5 today and register for your chance to play and win. If you're not a member, get the Pin Play app today. LeBair's Baton Rouge Casino is your live sports headquarters. Bring your crew for all the action. Must be 21 or older. Gambling problem? Call 877-770-STOP.
Our listeners fire off their opinions on the jimsfirearms.net hotline at 499-1045. Keep listening for your next chance to shoot us your thoughts with the jimsfirearms.net hotline on 1045 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Farming is a way of life for us. It's not something we get up in the morning and dread going do. It's just something we go to bed at night looking forward to getting up to go do. John Deere equipment is what we as farmers strive to have. So it's in your blood, it's in your veins. It's just a part of who you are. Green is what we want to be in. The other tractors were acquired to patch it up to get to where you want to be. Where we want to be is in John Deere. Flip the switch and learn more about what it means to be powered by sunshine at sunequip.com.
Jerry and Benny Payne began Central Plumbing Company out of their driveway in Tanglewood subdivision. 50 years later and 4 generations down the road, we continue to serve Baton Rouge and the surrounding areas for all of their plumbing needs. Residential, commercial, industrial, or hospitality, Central Plumbing is here 24/7, 365.
We want to thank our customers, family, and friends for 50 years of success.
And looking forward to 50 more.
Breck teamed up to reimagine your parks, and you imagined big. With your help, we went to work, creating 12 beautiful community parks across the parish. A family-sized water park, miles and miles of trails, and parks just for your dogs. There are more places to splash, to explore, to run wild, and even soar. You imagined, we delivered gold. Breck, your #1 park system in the nation.
Charles Hannegriff joined me and Jimmy out for the Friday edition of Live at Lunch from Rufino's on Highland Road. Bruce Marshall and Troy Macro will join us, and we'll get you ready for the weekend. Live at Lunch, 11 a.m. Friday from Rufino's on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
You're listening to The Hunt Palmer Show, brought to you by Rouse's Supermarkets.
Change is coming to Tiger Stadium this fall. We'll be there before you know it, and it's the 100-year celebration of Tiger Stadium. So I was interested to get this press release earlier today and kind of go through it, and I don't have images of what this is going to look like. I think when we go in there for game number 2 of the season, we'll get the full effect of it. Actually, you know what? I'll probably get a decent look at it when I go in August when I do the annual Baton Rouge Alumni Association event that they have in the South Stadium Club. I'll get a good look at it then. So I might get it just before you, but the full effect is going to come for the first kickoff there inside Tiger Stadium. I'll read this from the press release sent out by LSU today. New video boards and speaker towers are going in. The screen in the north end zone, so that's that big jumbotron there, in the north side of Tiger Stadium. It measures 5,624 feet. That is more than double what the previous screen was. The previous screen was 2,240. This is 5,624. It's 37 feet tall. It was 28 feet tall, so they're adding another 9 feet of height to that board in the north end zone. The south end zone corner boards are going to stand 48 feet tall and measure 67 feet in width. I think that's just a bunch of numbers, but essentially all the screens, the 2 in the corner of Tiger Stadium and the one big one in the north end zone, are all getting upgrades and are all going to be more functional than they once were. They're also upgrading the ribbon bands with some new technology. They're going to feature animations, graphic, game statistics, and as the press release says, bring constant energy and excitement, adding another layer of enhancements for fan enjoyment in Death Valley. And then here's the one that I think for me is probably the biggest change, because we've had replay and we've had stats and we've had those boards where they are, and all that is new but just enhanced. This is brand spanking new. The LED lights have been installed in the chute where the Tigers take the field, as well as the field tunnels. Adding to that LED, the in-game light shows and other capabilities will not only enhance the field of play, but will add excitement to Death Valley. We've seen this around the country. Alabama's got this, and you're going to see it just about everywhere that's got some cash on hand. But LSU's going to turn this into a purple and gold light show when they take the field, when they score touchdowns, when they get a pick, when they get a 3rd down, 4th down sack. Like, you're going to see a light show in Tiger Stadium. And we just talked about this, Beck, in the segment right before the top of the hour, how I'm a traditionalist and a curmudgeon, and I'm 80 years old, and everything I like is boring and dull.
Correct.
I'm all for this. This is great.
Really? Okay.
I don't like the pumped-in music. It feels like an NFL game, and I like the band playing. That is the traditionalist and the fuddy-duddy in me, and I understand that that's the minority. I'm all for lights.
No,
like that
we
seems cool to me.
We don't need the lights. We don't need the screen.
You're
Get
so
all the
full of
video
it.
boards out of there. We don't need all that. Just watch the game.
You want it to look like Notre Dame Stadium
Watch
with
the game, Hunt.
the stripes in the end zone,
Exactly.
the diagonal
Watch the
stripes.
game.
I'm gonna watch the game, and I'm gonna watch us get a sack. I'm gonna go nuts. Probably can't do that in the press box, but then there's gonna be a cool laser light show, and I think that's gonna be cool.
We don't need that. You know what? That's Alabama does that stupid light show thing. There, people are
I
gonna
will
have
draw the line at
seizures, like,
pom poms. Our
we don't
student
need
section's
that.
not getting pom poms like Alabama. We're not doing that
Do
like
we need it- do
Auburn.
we-
South Carolina's got. I think they're waving shirts or pom poms and stuff. We're not doing pom poms.
Do we need to have? So we're going to do in those light shows. You have to give an epilepsy warning before, like where it's
Potentially.
strobe lighting
Look,
and everything.
that's a
Are we
real
going to a
thing.
club hunt? Or are we going to Tiger Stadium? Where are we going?
It's a fair point, But I like it. I think it's going to be cool.
Okay.
I'm all for it. I think
you gotta go one way or the other. Hunt. You can't be 80 years old and also like the lights. Like, what are we doing here?
I give a correct opinion. This is backed up in facts. You don't change the jerseys ever. You let the band play on 3rd down, 4th down. You let the band play pregame, and you can do a laser light show.
Okay.
I'm actually curious what my. Go ahead,
I like
Cassie.
the lights.
Well,
like,
okay.
I'm still a student there. I like the light.
But you haven't seen the lights.
Well, but
You just
but
like
it's
the
I
idea.
like the idea of the light.
Okay. Do you like pumping in music? Do you like the fireworks when they come out of the tunnel? That drives me nuts.
I do like the fireworks. Those are awesome.
I don't like the
Well,
fireworks.
you
There's
can't-
smoke
you
everywhere.
can't have it- you
It's so
can't-
loud.
You can't have both. Like you can't have it both ways. Hunt.
I can. No, I don't. I can look at the information and form an opinion on it, and that's what I
Okay.
want. I want the. I like the laser lights. I think that's going to be cool.
So no
LED
no
lights.
fireworks. You're not with the fireworks, but you like
No,
the
I
lights.
hate the fireworks.
Okay.
You know
so-
what also annoys me? This is the worst. This is the worst thing about me. Probably not the worst thing. There's plenty to
There's a
choose
lot.
from there. I get annoyed. Dan Bournet is the voice of Tiger Stadium and
Yep.
the PMAC for my entire life.
Mhm.
And that is iconic, and I know that one day that won't be the case, and I'll be sad about that for sure. I have one critique.
Oh, here we go.
I have one critique. It irks me. I noticed it like 10 years ago, and it's every time, and it drives me a little nuts. What does he say when LSU takes the field? Do you know?
Here come the Tigers.
It says, ladies and gentlemen, it's Saturday night in Death Valley, and here come your Fighting Tigers of LSU. That's what he says.
Okay.
But he says, ladies and gentlemen, like 3 different times while they're coming out. And he does it every week.
Well, why though?
He goes, ladies and gentlemen. And like the team's coming out.
Because he doesn't know.
Ladies and gentlemen. And then I just go, well, let's just say it once.
Well, does he not know? Maybe he just doesn't know exactly.
It's every week. I think
Oh.
he just I think that's part of the build. And look, this is tongue in cheek because it doesn't matter. This is just me being annoying. I'm well aware of that. Like sometimes I really hate the alternate uniforms. Like I really don't like those.
Of course.
This is not to that level by any circumstance. It's 2 sentences that he says over the PA, and I adore Dan Bournet and his voice and think it's iconic in that stadium. But it does irk me just a little bit that every single week he says, ladies and gentlemen, like 3 times.
I never noticed that. I mean, I covered the team in 2019. I never noticed he does that.
I will tell you before the game, before the game, and you pay attention. He will say, ladies and gentlemen, at least 2, if not 3 times. And I just want one clean, ladies and gentlemen. And he's so clean with everything else he does. It's out of character for me.
Have you ever asked anyone like about that, like why he does that?
I have not.
Maybe you should ask him yourself.
I will not.
Okay.
I'll just go on thinking, man, I wish he would just say it once. So there's your changes to Tiger Stadium coming up this year. LED boards, huge scoreboards. Should be a little bit of a different experience inside Tiger Stadium. The other piece to the press release today spoke about Bayou Traditions and TAF kind of coming together to create some more fundraising opportunities that benefit those that do donate to LSU. So I'll kind of read this. It gets a little wordy and numbery, and I don't have a great feel for this, but I'll give you kind of some information. Starting July 11th, which is today, all contributions in support of Bayou Traditions, which is the NIL fund that LSU has created, through the Give 100 campaign, which is what they're doing for the 100-year anniversary of Tiger Stadium, every 4 priority points will be awarded for every $1,000 contributed. These points will count towards your lifetime and philanthropic point totals. For a $100 gift, fans are going to receive an exclusive 11x14 100-year of Tiger Stadium print by renowned artist Becky Foss. With a $250 gift, fans will get exclusive Tiger Stadium print along with a commemorative ticket and lapel pin displaying the Ole Miss game October 12th in a decorative ticket display box. A $500 gift will get exclusive Brian Kelly signed Tiger Stadium print along with a commemorative ticket, lapel pin, and display box. And to support the Give 100 campaign and find out more information. You can view the commemorative items down in this press release at lsutaff.org/give100. So basically what they're saying here is there are some cool items you can get with a one-time gift to the collective Bayou Traditions. And if you're looking for points to get tickets and get opportunities to do things and to raise up the priority list when you move and all that kind of stuff, you're going to get points for every $1,000 contributed to Bayou Traditions. This is something that I think on its face, people look and go, ugh, I'm not doing that. Da, da, da. And then I think it's kind of the same people that complain like, oh, we didn't get that recruit, can't get that DB. This is just kind of the way it is now. And I don't have to pay for my ticket, so I don't have to worry about priority stuff because I work for the school and all that kind of stuff. And so, like, I can't squarely put myself in y'all's shoes for this discussion. I'll just be candid about that. And it's kind of a conflict of interest for me to cover the team and then donate cash to the NIL fund. So, like, I'm not in the same shoes that y'all are in. But, look, I think if you have the means and love the football program and the basketball and whatever program you like ever on that campus and want the NIL program to work, it doesn't take 2 or 3 people donating a ton of money. It can be a ton of people donating a little bit of money. And in this sense, you're able to get some points that could help you down the line with season tickets and seating and all that kind of stuff in regards to LSU. So check that out online at lsutaff.org/give100. A lot of different fundraisers, and the folks over at Bayou Traditions are doing their best to try to raise some funds and to put the biggest pool they possibly can together of NIL dollars, because we're all well aware that's kind of how the game is played now, and LSU's got a pretty marketable brand that can put a lot of money behind it. It would tend to go well for the folks in purple and gold. So that's your update on the stadium and NIL funds over at LSU here on this Thursday. If you're looking for LSU content, LSU football about to get into full swing, you can check us out on YouTube. Hunt on LSU is our YouTube channel. It's got all LSU football, no basketball, no baseball. It's all football and recruiting. If you're looking for 10, 12-minute segments, I've got one up right now of Corey Raymond and kind of my thoughts from yesterday. If you missed that segment, you can catch it Hunt on LSU on YouTube. Appreciate Cassie and Jesse for getting that all out every single day. Gave some thought to this today, and I've got some numbers behind it and some dates behind it, which may be the most important thing. Is Paul Skenes going to start the All-Star game for the National League? I'll tell you my thoughts on that coming up next.
You are now listening to The Hunt Palmer Show.
Audio, video, security solutions, avssla.com. If you don't like the laser light shows and the pumped-in music and the fireworks and the traffic, and you're going to watch all the LSU games from home, you might as well have the best home viewing experience you can possibly have. That's with surround sound and properly mounted televisions and all that goes into that. And the folks to call if you're looking for that are the folks at Audio Video Security Solutions. They're locally owned and operated by Mitchell Fisher. His team is fantastic to work with. The customer service is second to none. They know what they're doing, and they'll walk you through that process, whether it's the audio in your home, whether it's the video in your home. They can do something as simple as just mounting your televisions. They can do something as complex as voice automation. You walk in and say, watch a movie. Blinds come down, TV comes on, speakers cramp up, TV turn. Like, they can do all of that for you as well. And it's all operable right there on an app at the touch of your phone or the remote control. Give Mitchell Fisher a call. This is his cell phone, 225-439-7920, 225-439-7920. They were the people's choice for the best vendor at the Parade of Homes earlier in 2024. It's Audio Video Security Solutions. Check them out online, avssla.com.
In times of need, get a full list of phone numbers, websites, and other important emergency information on the Demco Stormwatch page at 1045ESPN.com.
Electricity is all around us, and our families depend on it. Every day is sparked by the power of a cold drink or a warm meal, a movie night, and a comforting light at the end of a dark hallway. From sunrise to sunset, playtime to bedtime, our team is ready to take care of your electrical needs. Even in the case of an after-hours emergency, the light in your life shines brighter with Mr. Electric.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected. Supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
At Relief Windows, we're more than windows. We're windows, doors, hardy plank, and vinyl siding. But our #1 product is always customer satisfaction. Visit us online at reliefwindows.com.
Hey, it's Matt Moscona. For years, you've heard me tell you about Insurance Network of Louisiana, helping you find better coverage for less money. But it's not just for your home and auto. They also offer commercial property. So, retail stores, professional offices like doctors, dentists, attorneys, clothing boutiques. Insurance Network of Louisiana can find you better coverage for less money. They service the entire state of Louisiana, and they're local. So call today at 293-0450 or lainsurance.net.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks.
Matt Moscona inviting you to join us for Thursday's AFR, the latest LSU baseball transfer portal news, and Matt Borman from the Tiger Athletic Foundation talking a little LSU NIL. Join us 3 to 6, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Coming July 15th, the 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge 2K a Day Summer Cash Giveaway brought to you by Citizens Bank and Trust. Stay tuned for details on the word of the day coming the entire week of July 15th, that is next week, of course, and your chance to win extra cash for the summer.
This is the Hunt Palmer Show, brought to you by Rouse's Supermarkets.
Well, Paul Skenes is at it again. He's pitching in Milwaukee today. And currently, he has thrown 5 innings. He has allowed no hits, no runs, 1 walk, 10 strikeouts in those 5 innings. He is carving the Milwaukee Brewers up. But, as is tradition, his team is not very good, and they haven't scored a run either, so it's nothing on the top of the 6th there up at American Family Field. But Paul Skenes has been dominant since he set foot on a Major League mound. And now the question becomes not whether or not he can be an all-star. He already is. The question is, will he start the game for the National League? And I think, just to not bury the lead, the answer is he's going to start the game for the National League. You look at the statistics and you look at the players who have been named to the team, and there are a couple of guys very much in his class. Chris Sale is 12-3 with a 2.74 ERA for the Braves. He's got 136 strikeouts to just 22 walks, so he's striking out 11.7 per 9. He's been fantastic. Zach Wheeler is 10-4 for the Phils, 116 innings, a ton of innings. That is 70. It's 45 more than Paul Skenes has thrown on the year. Wheeler's ERA is 2.7, so both those guys right at about 2.7 with a big strikeout number. Wheeler's at 126. And so those guys very much could be the starters in the All-Star game, but they are both projected to start on Sunday for their teams, which means they're not coming back on Tuesday and pitching in the All-Star game, not even a pitch. So they're pretty much out. Tyler Glasnow has had a really good year for the Dodgers.
Shota would be option.
I've got him on the list. Glasnow's on the IL. Aaron Nola, Mitch Keller have had really good years. They didn't even make the team. Hunter Green is 5-4. He's had a good year. He's got 116 strikeouts. Logan Webb has got 107 strikeouts. He's 7-7 on the year. And Shota Imanaga, as Beck just mentioned, he's 8-2 on the year, and he's got an ERA just under 3 with 98 strikeouts on the year. And I say all that, and Paul Skenes' numbers, although not as substantial because he doesn't have the innings pitched, are better. Paul Skenes is unbeaten. He's 5-0 right now. His ERA is 2.12. No, sorry, because of the 5 innings he's going scoreless today, his ERA is under 2. It's 1.96. Nobody else on this list has an ERA under 2.7. So he's nearly a full run better than all of these. His strikeouts per 9 are higher than all of these. So basically it just boils down to, do you care that he's only thrown 69 innings? Because his 69 innings don't stand up to Imanaga's 97, Logan Webb's 124, Hunter Green's 104. Like, that's really all that matters if you're trying to take it away from Paul Skenes. Here's the deal. Yeah, he didn't pitch in April, but he's the best pitcher going. And the league hasn't seen him once, and there will be adjustments, and every start is not going to be 5 shutout innings. He just struck out another guy. 11 strikeouts. But he's dominating every time out. He has not been tagged with a loss in professional baseball. Now, I realize we're not talking about rookie ball stats. We're not talking about AAA stuff from earlier this year. Like, that doesn't matter when we're talking about the All-Star game. But the fact of the matter is that he hasn't missed a beat when he got to the big leagues. It's just been absolutely clinical every single time out. And today has been his best outing. And this is going to be the freshest outing to the brass in the National League when they make their decision on who's going to start, probably Sunday or Monday. And then you bring in the point that is, okay, this is a television product. It's an exhibition. What do we want to do? Do we want to send Shota Imanaga or Logan Webb out there? Or do we want to send the number 1 pick in last year's draft, who's taken the league by storm, who just won a College World Series on ESPN last summer, and whose girlfriend has 4 million Instagram followers? Like,
wow, Hunt.
I mean, it's a television product. It's an entertainment product.
Just totally demeaning our Cubs ace.
I love Shota. He was great yesterday. We won the game. Fantastic. Beat Baltimore, one of the best teams in baseball. And I would love it if Shota started, but I would love it more if Paul Skenes started.
Yeah, you're right.
And how about this? You got Skenes that'll come out there throwing 102, and then bring in Shota throwing a bunch of splits and curveballs and sliders and all that kind of stuff from the left side. Both guys are going to pitch in the All-Star game, which is very cool. I didn't mention this. Sale and Wheeler are slated to pitch on Sunday, so they're not going to be available. But Green, Webb, and Shota will be available. Hunter Green pitches today, just like Skenes. Logan Webb and Shota both pitched yesterday and would only have Thursday, Friday, Saturday. They're not going to come back on 3 days rest to pitch on Sunday. So their first half is done. So I think it's down to Skenes, Green, Webb, and Shota. And if that's the case, Skenes has a sub-2 ERA. Hunter Green's is 3.45. And his record's 5-4. Logan Webb's ERA is 3.49. Skenes is 2.5 runs south of that, literally. And Webb's 7-7. Skenes is undefeated. I realize the record doesn't matter, but like if we're just looking at stats. And then Shota's 8-2 with a 2.97, but still, Skenes is 1.96. It's a full run lower. I don't see another path. Paul Skenes is going to start this All-Star game, and that is so freaking cool. Because we just talked yesterday about Daniel Dickinson and his quote regarding LSU and why he decided to go there. And it's like they're on my TV everywhere. It's baseball, it's football, it's men's basketball, it's women's basketball. They're all over the place. And this is more evidence to that. And you don't get any runs on the scoreboard next February, and LSU's not going to start with a 3-0 lead on USC because they've got a lot of social media influencers and famous rich athletes. But this is a cool thing for us. And I want to go back to, I say this all the time. Like, no one is less afraid to say when they sound like an idiot than me. I very, very bluntly said last February, prior to the 2023 season, like, gang, this dude pitched for Team USA, and so there's talent there for sure. Tennessee wanted him bad. Vanderbilt wanted him bad. And it's good that we got him. But, like, his numbers pitching at Air Force are, like, okay. Y'all realize that Paul Skenes pitched game 1 of the regional as a 4 seed against Texas in Austin 2 years ago and kind of got knocked all over the place for 5 innings? He struck guys out, but he gave up like 5 runs on 6 or 7 hits. Like, there was nothing to me to suggest that this guy would become the best pitcher in the big leagues in 17 months. And you could suggest that's hyperbole to an extent, and there are some guys with some more skins on the wall, but it's not as absurd as it may have sounded 6 months ago. And so hopefully this meteoric rise is a selling point for LSU in the transfer portal to go, hey, watch what this guy did at Air Force. He showed up here and did that. Because this is unbelievable what he's doing. He is putting major league teams in a blender every single time out. He has not had one bumpy start, not one. His worst start as a major league pitcher, I had the game log and then it just popped off. But his worst start as a major league pitcher has been given up, I believe, 3 runs.
Well, I think it was maybe the start against the Cubs. I think they got a few runs on him.
They hit 1 home run on him. Here's his game log. Okay, most earned runs given up in a start. 3 in his first against the Cubs, and 3 against the Dodgers in a game they won 10-5, where he struck out 8, including Ohtani, and got the win. That's the worst he's done. They're putting kid gloves on him, and they're not letting him go. He has not finished a hitter. He has not started a new hitter post 100 pitches. You can see it's 102, 98, 96, 103, 93, 96, 93, 100, 84. Because they know that he didn't throw as many innings as most professional pitchers last year as a college pitcher, because you only make 16 starts if you go all the way. And 14, 15, 16, 17. He made 19 starts. But they're putting kid gloves on him. He's dominating every single time out. And he's going to be the starter in the All-Star game. And I think that is such a cool thing for us to have watched this guy in college last year. Now he's the NL starter in the All-Star game. If he's not, I'll be surprised. There are other possibilities, but this feels like a slam dunk, obvious choice. I hope they make it here coming up with the National League. All right, we got 1 segment left to go. It is Take It or Leave It. We'll come back, do that, and finish things up here on a Thursday edition of The Hunt Palmer Show.
You are now listening to The Hunt Palmer Show.
Maybe you don't throw 100 miles an hour, but you can get hurt doing things other than throwing 100 miles an hour like Paul Skenes. You can car accidents, youth athletic injuries, sleeping wrong, just aches and pains that come with day-to-day life. If you want to get back to your active self and feeling your best, there's one place in Baton Rouge to go. It's Evolve Physical Therapy. Robbie Bolt and his team are so awesome. They deal with active people each and every day. They're hands-on with it. They've got so many things and resources they can do to help you get back to being your active self. It's the scraping, cupping, dry needling, soft tissue manipulation. They've got a ton of exercise equipment in there as well, and they're going to be with you each and every step of the way. It's not one of those situations where you get a list of exercises to do and they walk away and they come see you at the end of the session. Nope, they're going to be with you every single exercise to get you back as quickly as possible to being as active as you can be. Maybe you're a golfer who's in his 60s, her 60s, and you're just not feeling great and want to get back out there. He can help you with that. Maybe you've got a 9-year-old gymnast that's been injured working out. Well, he can help them too. It's not age specific, not gender specific, not sport specific, not injury specific. Whatever you've got that's not going great, Evolve Physical Therapy can help you get back to being your active self. They're on Starring near Highland Road, and you can check them out online, evolvept.com, evolvept.com.
Get the 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge app powered by Bayou Ford and tap the microphone icon to send us your thoughts in an audio message. Your message could be played on air during Off the Bench with Esther and T-Bob, The Hunt Palmer Show, and after further review with Matt Moscone.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
Jerry and Benny Payne began Central Plumbing Company out of their driveway in Tanglewood subdivision. 50 years later and 4 generations down the road, we continue to serve Baton Rouge and the surrounding areas for all of their plumbing needs. Residential, commercial, industrial, or hospitality, Central Plumbing is here 24/7, 365.
We want to thank our customers, family, and friends for 50 years of success.
And looking forward to 50 more.
Breck teamed up to reimagine your parks, and you imagined big. With your help, we went to work, creating 12 beautiful community parks across the parish. A family-sized water park, miles and miles of trails, and parks just for your dogs. There are more places to splash, to explore, to run wild, and even soar. You imagined, we delivered gold. Breck, your #1 park system in the nation.
Electricity is all around us, and our families depend on it. Every day is sparked by the power of a cold drink or a warm meal, a movie night, and a comforting light at the end of a dark hallway. From sunrise to sunset, playtime to bedtime, our team is ready to take care of your electrical needs. Even in the case of an after-hours emergency, the light in your life shines brighter with Mr. Electric.
At Relief Windows, we're more than windows. We're windows, doors, party plank, and vinyl siding. But our #1 product is always customer satisfaction.
Charles Hannegriff joined me and Jimmy out for the Friday edition of Live at Lunch from Rufino's on Highland Road. Bruce Marshall and Troy Macro will join us, and we'll get you ready for the weekend. Live at Lunch, 11 a.m. Friday from Rufino's on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Parish Construction and Roofing brings you live coverage of the 2024 SEC Football Media Days, Monday, July 15th through Thursday, July 18th. Find highlights from the week on the 104.5 ESPN YouTube channel. Our coverage is also brought to you locally by Rev Business and Relief Windows.
You are listening to The Hunt Palmer Show, brought to you by Rouse's Supermarkets.
Skenes just got through another inning. Hitless. He's thrown 6 shutout, no-hit innings against the Brewers today up in Milwaukee. We were just talking about it, but I just saw a stat that got posted. Paul Skenes, first pitcher with 7 or more strikeouts in 10 of his first 11 career appearances since at least 1901. Is that good? That is pretty good.
I think that was back when they had those balls that were like the dead ball. I think it was the dead ball era.
The dead ball era.
Yeah.
What's some of the guys? They had some pitchers with nicknames.
Yeah.
Old Horse, Rayburn.
Rolly Fingers.
That's probably Fingers was in like the 70s, man.
Yeah, that's true.
It's like Old Horse, Rayburn, and the Cubs had one.
Mordecai.
Three-finger Brown. There you go. That's what I was looking for. That's it. All right, let's play some Take It or Leave It.
I'll take it.
I keep doing it.
You really do.
At this point, I think I might just need to do it every time now. All right, first one here. Jamal Adams has signed a deal with the Titans. Best safety in LSU history. Take it or leave it.
For me, I'll take it. I think I'm slanting towards run stopping there. I don't know how great he was in coverage, and I certainly appreciate the efforts of a lot of the great safeties. Grant Delpit and LaRon Landry come to mind immediately for sure. But to me, Jamal Adams was the best safety I saw. And again, maybe that's just skewed because he was shot out of a cannon on run stopping for some of those teams. I adored watching him play. He was awesome. He's been a really good pro, even though injuries have kind of marred some of what he's done. We'll see if he can get things straightened out with a one-year deal with the Titans. President Adams headed to Nash Vegas.
All right, next one here. Georgia is driving poorly yet again. Smile Mondin was arrested for racing and reckless driving. Bo Hewley was arrested for reckless driving stemming from an investigation of a single vehicle accident. Kirby needs another team meeting. Take it or leave it.
I mean, I'll take it.
It's impressive at this point.
This is bizarre. That they get arrested this often for this exact same thing after one of their teammates and support staff died doing this. There are so many things to do for enjoyment in college that don't involve racing vehicles in a small town. I am aware, or this was the case back from 2006 to 2011, that the Athens Police Department is incredibly vigilant and it was known as a college student, it was easy to get arrested in Athens. As I went to all the SEC towns and was out at the bars at all of them and all that kind of stuff. Athens is where you can get in trouble. In fact, I had a buddy who refused to come with us to Athens because he said he would get arrested, and then he did decide to come, and then he got arrested. So it is doable, but he wasn't racing cars. He wasn't the 10th or 12th Georgia player to be caught racing cars. He actually was urinating in public and then tried to steal the cop's bike who was writing him a ticket,
nice.
Which did not go well.
Good stuff.
But, yeah, just stop racing cars. Just stop racing cars.
Maybe they need to get an Uber. Maybe they need to get an NIL deal with Uber. So they just Uber everywhere.
This is not a transportation thing. I think this is out there for hobby, just driving too fast.
I know, but you just gotta. At this point, Kirby just gotta take the
gracious.
keys away from these guys, man. They can't handle it.
Sir.
All right, last one here. Potential U.S. men's national team coaching target Jurgen Klopp has reportedly rebuffed the U.S. Soccer Federation's advances, sticking to his previous comments before leaving Liverpool, saying he was taking a break from coaching. The U.S. will not get a top candidate. Take it or leave it.
Beck, I'm going to have to turn this one over to you because I don't know anything about soccer.
Well, I'm not surprised. As I said in the statement, he said he was going to take a break from coaching. And of course, as we have talked about this whole year, coaches usually say things and sometimes they do not mean anything.
Right.
They will lie in press conferences all the time and just will completely negate what they said. So I did think there was maybe a slight chance that
bring that bag
that they would be able to get some money, enough money to hire him, but unfortunately they did not. I do think that they will be able to get a relatively good candidate for the job. One of the top guys that people have mentioned is a French manager. His name, I will say, I think countries should have to hire a coach that is from their country.
Makes things tough.
They can only have players from their country, so maybe they should only have to have a manager from their country. But at the end of the day,
worry about a Frenchman taking over?
I don't worry about it too much, but I do think that it will probably
Where's Jurgen Klopp from?
Jurgen Klopp is German.
Figured so.
So obviously had a former Jurgen was a manager.
Jurgen Klinsmann. Also German.
And infamously had the U.S. not qualify for the World Cup for the first time in over 40 years. But,
how's Bob Bradley doing? Wake him up.
Yeah, I think he's probably retired at this point. He's probably in his 70s or 80s.
Okay.
But anyway, yeah, there's a manager, Herve Renard is his name. He's
Herve.
He is Herve, not Herb Jones.
Herve Renard. Not on Herb.
Not on Herb. Yeah. Well, he's managed a couple of different international teams. He's got a lot of experience, and he's taken some teams that aren't very good to pretty big heights. Like he managed Saudi Arabia in the last World Cup. And they beat Argentina, which was one of the biggest upsets in World Cup history. So he's gotten some good results with some pretty not very good teams. So see what he can do with the U.S. So I'm
anti-Saudi Arabia. I think of Live Golf, and that means I'm anti.
Understandable. But
so here's the deal. This is a very desirable job. We have a lot of money. We apparently, as y'all tell me, have a good team, and we're hosting the World Cup, so you're automatically in. There's no pressure there. This seems to be a slam dunk.
Well,
Go get somebody.
Okay, but it's great that they automatically qualify. However, now they don't get to play those qualifying. You get to play World Cup qualifying games. Now they don't get to play those because they
you don't
automatically
even get to play?
No, you're not playing because you're automatically qualified. So that kind of shakes things up a bit. You don't get as much competition.
Got to play more friendlies.
You gotta play more friendlies.
Got to
Yep.
play friendlies.
Yep.
I love playing friendlies.
Yep.
Love a good friendly.
That's it though.
Hopefully you can find a coach for your friendly.
Yeah, unfortunately, couldn't get the top guy, but there's still
That's
other candidates out there.
All right, that's it for a Thursday edition of the Hunt Palmer Show. We're always presented by Rouse's on Thursdays. Do your weekend grocery shopping with my friends over at Rouse's. We all always shop Burbank and Lee, but there are tons of Rouse's locations all over the state of Louisiana and the Gulf Coast. Make it Rouse's this weekend. Fantastic selection. If you don't have time to go in the store, you can download the app, and they can do all your shopping for you. Bring it right out to the front door. You don't pay an extra cent as long as you spend $35. It's a great deal over there at Rouse's. All right, we had my thoughts on Keith Law's big board, Tiger Stadium changes, Paul Skenes is the All-Star starter, Luke Johnson talking Saints, big transfer portal ad for LSU's pitching staff. All that's in the show that you can catch on demand wherever you find your podcast as well as on YouTube. Matt's going to drive you home, and after further review, we're back tomorrow for a Friday edition of the Hunt Palmer Show.
You are now listening to the Hunt Palmer Show.
Hey, it's Matt Moscona. For years, you've heard me tell you about Insurance Network of Louisiana, helping you find better coverage for less money. But it's not